Hello everybody, and welcome to Chaotic Neutral Games and our current D&D 5th edition campaign, The Benefactor. I'm Simon Cantor, your host and DM, and I have with me Nick, Felicia, Kate, Rodrigo, and Corinne, our players. Some announcements to start with. If you've been following us on Twitter, we have 2 new pieces of character art, which I will throw up onto the screen now for you. So the first one, if I can do this is probably where I'm going to screw up slightly. I'm having to go through folders and things, so I do apologise for this. For everybody, who doesn't know, I'm late because of buses. I actually got here only half an hour ago, so everything was prepared apart from this one thing.
In which time he's also cooked a whole meal as well, so you've got to give him some praise.
Oh yeah, go big or go home. Yeah,
I helped.
I'm helping.
I prepared everything.
You cook it while you're waiting for him. That's what I'm wondering.
Because I cannot cook risotto as well as this man can. So.
Okay.
Sense.
So the first one, which I'll put up here. Oh god, that's huge. It's just filled the screen very weirdly.
Ooh, whoops.
Holy shit.
Big or go home, right?
I've just screwed up a bunch of stuff. Hang on.
That's some real big dick energy you've got going on there.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I've just screwed up a bunch of stuff. Right. Right, where's the...
Oh god. Yes.
And it was starting so well. Right.
We had a bit of a hectic thing going on right just before.
Yep, it's all going wrong. Here we go. Let's not do that.
I think I have I think I can find smaller files.
I will put it up on Roll20 in a minute. Anyway.
Next time we'll make a different scene and you can just transition.
Yeah, I'll transition it, which is what I was going to do because I was supposed to be here with 2 hours to spare, and instead I spent 2 hours on a frigging bus.
Never happened.
Anyway, let's keep going. I will throw that up later when you guys are arguing amongst yourselves about how you all died. So, previously on the Benefactor was a bit of a different session. It was a role-playing session where we had everybody going through either memories or dreamscapes as they had a well-deserved night's rest or something approaching rest as they were recovering for their first day, day 0, I guess, on the job with the Green Organisation. They passed their interview with flying colours, apparently, because they now reside within the Hawk and Harness, a tavern right in the middle of town, a giant tavern that would normally cost a huge amount of money. And they have these beautiful ensuite rooms at the top of the tavern, including all mod cons. Everybody has a bag of holding, 3 healing potions, and a cupboard that's a bit like the TARDIS. Once they open it up, inside is a 20-foot by 20-foot room, far bigger than the cupboard itself, and on the walls there are weapons. They go to sleep, 3 of them. Iden, Glory, and Eclipse go to sleep in the tavern, whereas Farewell and Cora go to Freetown, the shantytown on the outside of Ostergald. And they decide to spend the night there. So Farewell spends the last night in his caravan before moving to the tavern, and Cora spends her night in her hovel. Cora has a dream which links her with her warlock patron, who as yet she has no idea who this person is, and goes through a strange series of events, ending in a strange whirling maelstrom and a pain in her back, where she falls out of bed. At that point, she is still in the hovel. Farewell has a similarly psychedelic dream, possibly spurred on by his near-death experience in the last encounter. And he wakes up hearing a bump on the floor as Cora falls out of her bed again, except they're not in Freetown anymore. They're in the tavern. Cora is understandably nonplussed about this, bordering on absolutely bloody furious, and demands to see the manager, which is technically them, but they do have a bar manager, and they on the way down, Farewell uses thaumaturgy to turn his voice into what is effectively an AC/DC concert whilst everybody's sleeping. It's about 5 a.m, and getting up everybody who's in this tavern, and of course the manager as well. They start to speak to Noki, who is the barman, the tavern keeper that is responsible for looking after their digs, and they hear a voice saying that the teleportation that has happened was necessary, that it was detected that they were attacked, and that they'll talk about it in the morning. And that's where we time in at 5:15 a.m. on the day after, amongst a bunch of very, very angry patrons, yes, overnight patrons, and a very, very annoyed Aiden as well.
Did I clean that dwarf's wounds, by the way?
Yes, you.
I was going to say that was a very slack job he did.
And so we're going to time in there, still at 5:15, and as was pointed out in the player chat, Glory, you're still in your PJs, so please don't just wander out into the street. Although I have a feeling that's probably not a barrier. Okay.
Think of the children.
So
think of the children.
Let's get into the game.
Anybody think of the children?
Noki says, please, everybody, when you wake up in the morning, please go back to bed, go back to sleep, and when you wake up in the morning, I will, of course, refund you your night's stay. And there will be a free breakfast on the house as well, to thank you for your patience and mild-mannered attitude towards this understandable incident. Thank you, everybody, please. And you see as people start filing away to their bedrooms. Noki turns to you, Cora, and says, Renata answered you, but she would likely be going back to bed as well. It would be good for you to go and continue your rest,
shit.
yes?
Oh shit, you woke up the boss.
I think I'm awake enough. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna walk out and leave.
Sure.
It's 5 a.m. It's not like I mean, for me, Kate, super early. But I'm sure for Cora, like if the sun's coming up and stuff, it's not that early.
For you, dusk and dawn is Cora's, kind of times of hours of trade. Sneaking things in and out of the city. There's just enough light for you to be able to see what you're doing, but enough enough darkness and shadow for you to be able to sneak around.
Yeah, even if she was a bit tired, I don't think she could sleep. She's just a bit freaked out by all of this and isn't,
Absolutely
doesn't feel comfortable going to sleep. So
are you leaving the tavern?
I'm gonna head downstairs and kind of pace around a bit and see what happens. Because I think she knows that everyone's pissed off, but she's still kind of riled, and she's not in a place where she's calmed down enough to maybe apologize to people.
Okay. Let's go around the rest. The rest of you, are you going back to bed? I think I already know Aiden's answer, but are you going back to bed, or are you going to go down for an early breakfast?
The Eclipse, she's probably used to getting up quite early for like different jobs and stuff, and she's happy because she slept a lot because she just got her stuff and then she went to bed. So she's happy. So she's gonna go down, purring loudly because she thinks this is hilarious, and walks down and for breakfast.
Sure. Aiden?
Yeah?
Are you going back to bed?
Absolutely.
You say do bear shit in the woods.
Glory, what are you doing?
Well, I think Glory would probably go up, change clothes, and then hang out with her new team downstairs by the breakfast bar.
Sure. Okay. And farewell. The dwarf turns around to you and says, okay, didn't know you were tied up with the management round here. So someone come and tried to rough you up in your sleep. So that's what you are reacting to, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. If there's more to it, I'm not gonna pry. I'm sorry for giving you some aggro back there.
It's fine. You really should learn to dress that better. Or invest in some better armor. I mean, those things are a bastard to heal at the best of times.
Oh, I have got better armor. And he points to an armor rack that has a very stereotypical dwarven design armor there. And on it is the Blackforge symbol, which you know because it's on banks. There's a Blackforge bank. And he goes, nah, person who gave me this caught me in the tavern. Not this one, another one. Yeah, caught me a couple of days ago. Odd thing in his knife. It's better than it was. It was looking really nasty at one point, but you know, it's okay. I'm a hardy breed. It's all right. Anyway, you head off now and get yourself some kip or some brekkie. You know, they're a good lot around here. They'll see you all right.
Okay. You get into any more trouble like that, you come find me. I'll sort you out. I owe you one at least for waking you up.
Ah, okay. I'm not one to turn away a favour. Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Cool. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
And then, like, farewell, unfortunately, is going to then clock. I say unfortunately, it's not unfortunate for him. He's going to clock Glory for the first time, and he's just going to watch her go across there.
Yep. Yep. Fair.
I don't think Felicia told the audience what she was wearing last time.
Oh yeah, that's probably
Oh God,
true. Yeah,
I
that's
didn't.
yeah. Oh well, in that case, I will.
We
let
went
you
as
go.
far as pajamas, but yeah. Glory doesn't wear much at the best of times, and she's wearing even less now. Yeah. I think negligee is what you said.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
It's like
You've had a few looks, some of approval, but most of what the actual, you know, she walked out of her room in that. Oh my God, kind of thing. So yeah, Glory as indomitable as ever, just kind of, you know, she can happily walk around with just confidence, wearing nothing else. But yeah, she goes back to the room, as you say, and gets dressed into, you know, appropriate opulent morning wear.
I'm gonna go find my good friend Cora, and I'm preparing myself to listen to the mother of all rants. So I'm going to find a nice, comfortable chair, and I'm going to sit down and watch this halfling probably wear a groove into the floor. Yeah, and just sort of sit and wait, and hopefully, if I can get something warm to drink.
Yeah, sure. There's teas. There's a form of coffee, and kind of a hot chocolate. Although it's more of a kind of a bitter drink, the hot chocolate. There's milk, which you can have hot with honey in it and things like that. So there's lots of different things. And then there's things like hot cider and stuff as well. So, you know, there's plenty of things that you can have. And breakfast orders are taken with no mention of with no mention of money.
And, well, not very hungry at the moment, but I'll definitely take the hot cider. And,
Yeah,
Sure.
as a cat, I will have the milk with honey in it.
Yeah, no surprises there. So your food comes very quickly, largely because every time they kind of slow down, they take one look at Cora's face and then speed up again until everything is done.
Cora's not actually ranting at the moment. She's quite quiet. There's a
bit
lot
less-
of inner thoughts going on.
do you go on?
No, I was gonna say I can only imagine her like she's not saying anything, but she's just furiously pacing back and forth. Like that's the way I'm imagining it right now.
So there's me, Eclipse, and will be in a few moments Glory downstairs. Is that right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm gonna just lean over to Eclipse and just whisper, 10 minutes, and then it comes. This is the calm before the storm. And if hair goes red, duck.
Understood.
A sensible warning.
Eclipse during this entire time still purring because she finds this absolutely hilarious.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be so. Sorry, gone.
I was just thinking, I'm probably gonna go over to Eclipse and just say, "Did you sleep here last night?"
Yes. I
All
slept
night.
in my room all night.
Okay.
So
You
you
didn't.
didn't.
No,
I have-
we didn't, and
We didn't start the night here, shall we say, but we
Yeah.
ended it here, and that freaks me out. That
yes.
someone can just pluck you from anywhere. So far, we've had nothing but weird shit happen. I'm not doing my accent at all. Oh well.
That's
Your
fine.
voice,
I can hear
that
your
is fine.
voice.
I know. Sorry, I'm doing a different accent. It's called husky. Like people seem to know everything about us already, and we literally turned up yesterday morning. I just don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
I came to work. I didn't come to just be some weird puppet that everybody seems to know and spot. Like as far as I know, they're watching and listening to everything right now, and I don't like it.
Any friend, any contractor worth their salt will check you out beforehand. They try to contact you. They will find out as much information that they can about you, and then they will ask you for your help or your employment.
I get that. I know. I've kind of been here before, but I just, if we were being attacked, okay, fair enough. That's a good system, but wake us up first. I have no reason to trust everything right now. Like, I don't know if we were being attacked or if this is just something being said. If they'd woken us up and we'd seen an attacker and then beamed us out, then I wouldn't be so angry. Do you know what I mean?
I make an insight check on the message. We got a retroactive insight check on the message Renata gave us.
Go for it.
If she was being truthful.
Yeah, go for it.
Also, Simon, cue me when I've gotten downstairs again.
What's that? Sorry?
Can you cue me for when Glory's gotten downstairs again?
Pretty much now. I mean, they have already started bringing out food, so let's say now.
Okay, good.
I kind of want to get you all into one place. I mean, Aiden's going to be having his final nap and all the rest of it, but the rest of you I'm happy to have in the room.
Well, 14.
Okay. You don't seem to get any thoughts of deception. You have a feeling that she's a person who tells you what she wants you to know and nothing more. But that's about it. That's about all you get.
Okay.
I gotta admit, it's too convenient. It's I can
I've
count
lived-
on the one hand the number of conversations I've had with some of the people in the temple here over the last 2 years, and suddenly she knows I'm here, and arrangements have been made. This is too convenient. This is too well thought out. This game is too big, way too big.
Sorry, I couldn't
never-
help but overhear a gentleman who has near-shaved hair. He's tall, quite a long face as well, human as far as you can tell, and he's wearing what seems to be a kind of a clerk's uniform, and there is indeed ink on his fingers. And he says, it's the whole city. Everybody who is of consequence is watched. In a way, you should be flattered if whoever it is that's finding out all this information about you is doing so.
I mean this in the nicest way, friend, but shove off.
Of course. Of course.
What is happening here,
Sorry,
friend?
darling. Sorry. Farewell is not the most eloquent of social graces. But yes, if you could leave us alone for a little while, and then we may speak to you, if that's okay.
Oh, I was just finishing up my breakfast, and there is a half-finished breakfast. But I was going to say, if this has indeed happened, then as unsettling as it might be, it means that you became someone today. He stands up, throws some coin on the table, and walks out.
No, fuck
Friends?
no.
What just happened? I think I missed your conversation.
Just a bystander commented, that's all. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, Farewell looks very, very scared at the moment, and he's probably a few steps away from freaking out. It's very clear on his face.
Okay.
Cora goes over and sits next to him, stops pacing, and she sees that. She'd rather try and calm him down instead.
Sure. Okay. That you carry on eating, you carry on sorting yourself out, and you're fed. And eventually a still rather tired looking Aiden walks downstairs. Fully dressed this time, although he kind of fell asleep in his clothes, but he seems to have kind of straightened himself out, and the hair
Do you
isn't
have
as
new
wild as
clothes
usual.
on?
No. It's Aiden. I think he's wearing the same clothes, just
Absolutely.
unwrinkled a little bit.
Okay.
I think in comparison to Glory, all of us are pretty much wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, I've got this mental image in my head of just probably maybe not so much for Eclipse because I've got a feeling she would clean herself up, but like
Yeah.
the remaining three of us just covered still in like dirt and blood and mud and everything else from the last few days, and we'd just sit there just like, oh fuck.
Probably true, yeah.
I mean, Aiden's already used to sleeping in his clothes.
Yeah.
Well, you have the bath Farewell, so you're a bit more cleaner.
That's true.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot
And you
about that.
bleed water, so not
Yeah.
so much blood on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. A few tide marks and things, but that's about it. Yeah.
I want to kind of lean, like, kind of quietly to Farewell because I can see it's slightly freaked out, and just wanted to say, I get that people watch us. I get they have, which is why we were contacted. But, well, two things. Partly, one of the things I do is sneak around, and if someone's seeing me all the time, that kind of stops me being able to do what I do. And also, like, I have lived in that little shack for years now and never once been attacked. And all of a sudden, the day that I join or go to talk to this person, then I'm attacked. Even if it's true, it's just...
Remember, we did kill... yesterday, we did kill some people that are known for liking revenge.
Oh, yes.
True, but we killed them, remember? And I didn't look like me when we did that.
Yeah.
So anybody either followed us from that very moment and saw me change back, or it's some other reason.
By the way,
That's all.
cat, Kate. Oh, cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meow.
Talking. Okay.
No,
Oh wait, there was something watching us.
What?
What?
Does anyone remember? Well, we were kind of in the middle of things, and I kind of forgot about it after you fell. But when we first arrived on the scene yesterday, with the dogs, the I haven't got my notes. Those guys, the baddies.
The Razor Boys were attacking the Cobble Dogs.
Thank you. I knew there was dogs and razors, right? The razor blade. There was. Did anyone see the cat? There was a cat.
Yes.
You saw a cat?
I think there was a cat by the
little place that I hid. I hid by the shack where there was a cow and stuff. There was a cat. What? But like, not just being. I don't know cats all that well, but it was watching, like properly watching. And just before all the shit went down, it looked at me, and I swear to God, it said meow, and not just like meow. It said meow.
I have to agree. That's very odd.
To be honest,
arcane check to try and figure out if I know any spell or magical creature.
Go for it.
Like, just on the top of my head, if I just like that snap something. Gonna use that one.
Get
So
lots of warm liquids for that throw.
16 plus 3, that's a 19.
Yeah.
That's
So
not a bad check.
yeah, a few things jump to mind. So at the top is a familiar. Okay. So familiars have been known to just be able to speak. Then after that, there would be some form of polymorph effect. The classic polymorph spell means that you can't do anything but go ow. But there are polymorph spells that will allow you to tweak them in certain ways, allow you to speak through it or whatever. Then the last one is there are certain phase shapeshifters who would be able to do it as well. Typically, I mean, do you think maybe a devil could, but whether or not a devil would?
There is that.
There's no precedent. Yeah, there's no precedent.
I guess the important question is what are we going to do when Renata gets here? Because at the moment I want to run, but I want to get
I don't
paid.
think running's going to help.
I
How
know.
is running going to help? And what are we running from? We need to talk to her. She's the person who, in theory, hired us. We haven't even talked to her yet. Maybe this is all a misunderstanding. Maybe it's just we just don't know the rules yet. No one's actually talked to us about anything. It's been like, okay, there's a test. Go kill these people. Okay, and we did, and then more crap happened, and then we tried to sleep, and boom. So we haven't had a moment to actually talk to anyone.
Yeah, but
I mean,
isn't that the exciting part of this game?
Glory, do you know what's going on here? You seem, out of all of us, the least freaked out. Is this normal?
I have no idea about the rules, but I'll happily figure them out. It's just like back home.
What's it like back home? You're not from here
use
then?
and be used by other people. Everything for the glory.
Ha.
Okay. Well, who gets the glory? The user? If you're just a puppet, you surely don't get any glory at all.
Of course you do. As long as you know who you're using.
Sounds very complicated.
Yeah,
It is. It's a game. Politics are as they are.
No,
doesn't sound very
I-
friendly.
I don't think that Renata is going here. I'm pretty sure that we are going to her.
I think
Yes,
you're absolutely
more than
right.
likely.
I can't imagine her turning up in some random tavern, even if it does belong to her.
Oh dear. I'm going to have to pick a dress for this. You can't meet a dragon without one.
You can't meet
I
her.
can't-
What?
I don't think
A
Renata's
dragon?
a dragon.
Yes. Well, back home, the dragons are they rule, and Renata is one of the dragons in the city. She is one of the rulers.
What?
I guess.
What?
Farewell. Glory is using figure of speech. Renata is probably not actually a dragon.
I don't know. After what Aiden told us about, and fuck it, where's my notes? Because I can't remember her name. That's really bad. Olivia Storm. I mean,
Oh,
if she's not a dragon,
definitely something pretty powerful. So,
oh.
As soon as Farrell says my name, I just go, what?
But
morning. Good morning.
I'm gonna put a cup of hot cider in front of him,
Yeah, I'm
tap him on the shoulder, and just be like, go back to sleep. Drink this, go back to sleep.
I
I know,
push
like,
over
I-
some
I-
food if he doesn't have any.
I already woke up. As the thing is, it's because it's before 12 in the midday. My brain still hasn't woken up. Anyways,
For
yeah.
someone who almost looks undead, you kind of seem very sleepy all the time.
Yeah, I have
Oh.
trouble sleeping.
Oh, you have trouble?
You have
Yeah.
trouble sleeping, but yet you are sleeping all the time. I think
Yes.
you sleep even more than me, and I'm a cat.
There's a difference between sleep and rest, and I get that. Take your time, friends. Eat, drink,
Okay.
and we'll
We'll be called when we're called, I guess.
Yeah.
You carry on eating and drinking, and things get refilled as and when they're needed. But you don't hear anything until around about 10:30. You've spent what for some people is most of a day, and during that time you watch the tavern go through its various iterations. So the first thing you see is the night shift come in and have their evening meal first thing in the morning. You see shortly after they leave that the smell of what is stewed meats, vegetables, heartier fare gives over very quickly to bacon and sausages and other such things, porridge, a lot of porridge, and you find yourself just watching people coming and going at some point, just kind of maybe a little bit hypnotized by it. And around 10:30, someone walks up and says, "You're the occupants, am I right?"
Yes.
I suppose
I think
that's
we're some of
one way
many.
to call us.
I guess.
Excellent. My name is Joseph, and I'm here to take you to Miss Green's residence.
Oh,
boy.
excellent. Thank you very much.
He has the barding of a footman, and he leads you outside, and there's a carriage waiting for you. She's probably about 9 or 10 streets away. Well, some of the more substantial streets, but there's a carriage waiting to take you to the residence.
I happily go into the carriage.
Sure. Okay.
Glory heads in after.
So yeah, you head into the carriage and you get taken on a little ride throughout the city. And it takes pretty much the same route that you would do if you were walking. So a little bit of wasted labour there, but you end up in front of the same large house in the royal quarter, and you are ushered into that large foyer that you were taken into back in session 1. Except where previously it was empty and there was just a single servant to usher you upstairs, it's a little more bustling, and you realise that Renata Green's residence isn't just her residence, it's her base of operations. The first person that you recognise actually is Hecris, and she's walking someone out with her gigantic hand on his shoulder saying, "You got off bloody lightly, come on, let's sort this out." And as she passes you guys, she tips you a wink. Considering the first time you met her, she was in a murderous rage. She tips you what seems to be an almost conspiratorial wink, and gives Aiden a good-natured nudge with her shoulder. Just kind of shoulder nudges him.
Wow.
As she goes past. Maybe she saw something, saw you fighting, or because it doesn't seem to be that she judges much else. And you have a feeling it was a friendly gesture as
I think you've got a fan.
as she goes past you.
I'm still just like, ow.
Our tank, ladies and gentlemen. So the rest of the people who are buzzing around kind of bothering people who have got the green kind of courtier's costume on. And some people are walking out to them saying, "Look, I need to speak to her. I need to speak to her now. Please, all I need to do is speak to Miss Storm. That's all. All is saying, please, go into that room over there. Take a seat. We'll be with you in a minute. But look, they're with other people already. Just please go sit down. They're getting through everybody. You'll be seen in due course." And you see there are a lot of people there, and you're reminded of stories, or in the case of Glory, reminded of actually being there. For petitioners in a royal court, people are kind of in hushed tones discussing how they're going to present, what they're going to present, how are they going to ask, what they're going to ask for. And you overhear snippets of conversation where it's like, "Look, 200, that's all we want, 200, and that's it. The business is back up on its feet. We can make it back in 6 months. She'll see that too. She knows that it wasn't our fault." And, there's lots of little kind of bits here and there that you're just catching, snippets. And there's a shouting from the back room on the lower floor. If you remember, the study was on the upper floor. And there's a sudden slam of a door, and a guy comes out and he's like, "Then we'll take the fight to them ourselves, and I'll just have to deal with whatever punishment they want to deal out." And just as he goes to push past you, you are a little bit startled by the fact that you knew that Olivia was nowhere near you. And just as he's about to leave the double doors going out to where the carriage is, he literally bumps into Olivia, and she goes, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Were you leaving?" And he goes, "Miss Storm, we're not going to stand for this. Those Cobbledogs were my friends. They were transferred from my detachment. They were recruited through my people. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to break some legs so that they think twice about doing it again." And she goes, Do you disrespect Miss Green so much?" "Yeah, don't you be playing any word games with me, lass. And she goes, "She walked into the Liberty Quarter alone, unarmed, went up to the king himself and threatened his life. In your name, in the name of the Cobbledogs, and in the name of all those lads that you brought to us, for which we are very grateful. She spent half the night bringing together agreements and reparations and she left unscathed, bringing down his reputation. She embarrassed him. And if you think embarrassment is not enough for the king of thieves, and he's like, no, well, I didn't say any of that. Don't put anything in my mouth. I just think that someone should be hurt for it. She goes, and they were. They were. Malkak himself was slain by these fine people here. And she gestures to you guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Ms. Glory over there reduced 3 of them to bubbling piles of molten flesh, and he looks at her with a look of disgust. This guy is clearly just a career soldier. He's a sword and board soldier. He looks at her as kind of like, what? The girl did what? She goes, yes.
Just this tiefling with this really thick tail swishing back and forth, going, hello.
And Olivia goes, yes, you wanted violence. You wanted an answer to all this. You wanted them to feel our presence. Meet the new guys. We've yet to think up a suitable name for them. And he's there like, well, and about time too, and he just slams the door on his way out.
Well, that was...
Bye.
That's it.
My. Oh my.
Could I possibly make an inside check into what Olivia was saying, if I believe what she was saying to be true?
Go for it.
And here I thought you were gonna ask if you knew who that guy was more.
9.
Okay.
About
She's speaking
14.
100% the truth.
As far as you can tell, yeah, Renata Green just walked in to the Liberty Quarter, which you know is suicide for anybody who is not currently in good favour with the Thieves Guild. Prior to working for the Green Organisation, you could have done it, Cora, and Eclipse could have got in there as well. Even Farewell, if he walked through single-handed, wearing every damn symbol of his faith, he would not have been touched. But if any of
Every
you
single.
had annoyed or otherwise insulted the Thieves Guild, it would be suicide. Olivia turns to you and says, are you ready to meet your new employer?
Good
No.
morning, Olivia. And
Ready as will be.
Very well. Follow me.
Like, I think it all comes out like that all at once.
Yeah.
Everybody like. Blah, 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 blah.
Sounds about right. She says, okay, follow me. You get walked up the same stairs as before, going to that lovely study. And when you open when they open the double doors, no
Sorry,
waiting
Simon.
room for you this time.
As we're going up the stairs, I'm going to put my hand on Cora's shoulder, and I'm going to cast Eagle's Splendor on her.
oh,
Okay.
Because again, Farewell is still in not a happy place, and he's just thinking, what do I need to get through this? What's going to make life easier? So he's just going to, just under his breath, he's going to be muttering prayers. And as he does, he just touches his shoulder and casts the Eagle Splendor. So Cora, you have advantage on any charisma checks that you need to make.
Ooh.
Okay, cool.
Ooh.
I used that in an interrogation scene, but we didn't make any rolls, so that was kind of useless. But
Well, I don't know. I mean, it might not get used, but
yeah,
it's
It's a good place to use it.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
sorry.
and that lasts for an hour. So that'll be on you for 1 hour. And then on himself, he's going to take a couple of beads of holy water, and he's just going to start gently sort of dripping it down his shield and on his mace. As there's just something about this whole setup, the fact that she just appeared, what Aiden sort of scried on Olivia before, that There are stories in the books, and especially his granddad would have told him, and things like that, that are just setting him on, still keeping that edge. And this is more of the terrified, let's run away. This is a fight, or we're going to die response in his
Okay.
face.
Level
Okay.
3 boss fight.
Dun 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 dun.
We're all dead.
Yeah.
As the doors open into the large, lavish study, you see that it's occupied not just by one, but a few people. Two younger scholars are sat down, feverishly writing out things from one book to another. They're transcribing. So you have a feeling that they may just be scribes. They could be students writing spells into their own spellbook. None of you are wizards, so it's a bit hard for you to tell.
I
And
know
also-
wizard spells.
And also they are kind of hunched over the books, so it's a bit hard to see from here without going up and checking yourself. You can't quite see the desk at the far end, the large one, for which Olivia was sitting at a smaller one to the side. But you do see a very, very old man. And he's sat next to the fire, and he's kind of running his fingers over a book, and you realise this book is in Braille. His eyes are milky white. He's got a long white beard, which seems to be well groomed. He has long white hair, and he is wearing a wizard's hat.
He's
he-
the most stereotypical wizard.
Is he Dungeon Master from the cartoon?
Yes.
Hello, Gandalf.
You have a feeling that if he took off the hat, he might actually be bald. For a
minute there, I thought you
Albus
would say
Dumbledore?
I put on my wizard hat and robe, and I was thinking this is definitely a different direction than this campaign's going.
So
Simon, can
Yeah.
I just sort of interject just for a second? I just thought, just before we walk into that room, I want to telepathically tell Eowyn just to keep her eyes peeled, but to stay hidden.
will do.
And look for anything particularly unusual that she should let me know about.
Okay. So, as you walk in, because the door had opened, the old fella. Oh, I was going to say the traditional wizard hat and the robe that he's wearing, you know, is academic dress for the nearby university. Yeah. Not for all of the students, obviously, only for the wizard students, the arcane students. But it is the form of official uniform. And anyone who walks through the city wearing that garb is kind of protected by the fact that the subtext, which wearing the green organization symbol, having thieves' cant, or wearing the guard's uniform, is a faction will screw you up if you mess with this person. Okay? Only an idiot attacks anyone dressed as a traditional wizard in Ostergald, because the university will find you. It's not what they...
Go on, sorry.
It's not what the university focuses on, but they will do it if anyone has the audacity to question them or threaten them. Okay,
The
or
nerds are
question their
fucking
authority.
dangerous.
We found Hogwarts.
No, I was gonna say it's the university name, Unseen University.
No, it's the University of Ostergald. It's the
Oh,
entire university. So the university covers everything from mundane subjects all the way up to high magic.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The nerds are fucking dangerous here.
Yeah, but
So-
it's fine as a setting. Of course, nerds are dangerous. It's the nerds that know the spells that hurt.
That's true.
The old man goes, Mary, dear, Mary, could you put another log on the fire? It's getting a little chilly in here. You guys think it's quite warm. He says, saying, Mary, where's that girl got to? Mary! And Olivia walks up and says, yes, Alfred, it's okay. I'll put another one on now. And she grabs hold of the poker, slaps the fire as if something is in the fire, and looks at you all as if to say, "Don't you dare tell him," and puts the poker back. He goes, "Oh, yes, that's much better. I can feel the benefits already. Thank you, dear. Thank you. How is your mother?" And she goes, "Oh, very well, thank you, Alfred. Very well, thank you. Good girl, good girl." She comes back again, glaring as if to say, "Don't you comment on anything to do with that scene." And she beckons you forward and says, "Alfred, we've got some guests. They're going to speak to Renata." He's like, "Oh, very good, very good. Okay." You walk up to the kind of little L section. You walk, if you remember before, I said that it was half obscured by a large bookcase. You walk up to the desk again, this big, beautiful, opulent desk, lots of paraphernalia on it, very clean though. Everything has got its place. And there's a small lectern that I said was on the desk, and now it has on it what seems to be a rather large spellbook. However, sat at the desk, you guys have seen the art, but I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I've been messing about with it whilst you guys were...
Are you going to put it on Roll20?
No, I'm not going to put it on Roll20. You guys have all seen it. I'm just going to do it for the sake of everybody else. Cover my face. There we go. Is Renata Green. So this art, lovely art, is made by at Feline Trickster. That's all one word on Twitter and Instagram. The artist's name is Michelle. Corinne and I are big fans of her art. Corinne's got 2 commissions now. This is my first. And we met her at MCM Comic Con 2 years ago. And it was fantastic. We immediately got on with Michelle and her partner Nikki. And they're big critters like us and big D&D fans. And we've talked to them about a lot of different ideas and things that we had. So I knew I could trust her to make Renata.
Hashtag not sponsored.
And so, as the art dictates, I'll describe Renata to you. Sat at the desk, in the middle of writing, and putting down a pen the second she sees you, is a soft-skinned, calm-faced looking woman of probably her late 20s. She has light, natural red hair that cascades down in kind of lazy ringlets across her shoulders. And she has a kind of semi-intense stare, despite the soft and calm body language. The eyes relay a certain intelligence. She's got a smattering of freckles on each cheek, and a slight blush to her skin that makes her seem even younger than what you guys, assume to be late 20s. She's dressed a little like Olivia in what seems to be a cross between courtier and military garb. Fastened at her neck is a silver necklace that has 4 green gems, each one oval in appearance, that make a cross. It seems to be a little too new, a little too shiny. You're assuming magic, an enchanted item. And her green clothes and variations on the colour is edged with a form of gold brocade. She crosses her fingers in front of you, leaning on the desk, leaning forward, and says, "Thank God you're safe. Please, come. Sit down."
May I only point out that the other guys have no idea where Glor pulled it out from, but she is currently fanning her head a little bit like, "Oh my God, that's a pretty lady." But she doesn't say that. It's just like that face.
Of course. And
Simon, can I? I'm gonna fuck it. I'm gonna cast Eyes of the Grave.
Sure. There are no undead in the vicinity.
Okay. I'm just gonna keep. I'll maintain that for as long as it lasts.
Sure.
And I'm just gonna look around. I'll be more interested in people coming and going than say Renata herself.
Okay. Can I get, let's call it a perception check by you all?
By us all. Oh,
By
my.
everybody, because you're all there.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Please be good. That's
I'm
not
so
bad.
glad I've got.
God damn it! I got a
expertise.
1, then I re-rolled and got a 5. Perception. Hold on, perception is different now.
I got an 8.
Yeah, I got an 8 as well.
16.
Simon,
15.
I looked at that music box, but we never actually found the time. I forgot completely to ask you
Mhm.
for all the benefits of that because it looked like it just made me exhausted. Is
Right.
there anything? Can you let me know if there's any benefits that would happen
Okay.
today or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when
And
when they arrive? If you
when we finish tonight, I'll go through it and tell you what it means.
sure,
in
as long as
greater
it doesn't
detail.
affect anything now. That's
Yeah.
cool. Thanks. Sorry, I should have asked before today.
18 for me, Simon.
Okay.
At least someone's perceptive.
Yeah.
I'm
I
only
said 15.
good because I've got a +8.
Oh
So-
yeah, you just
Oh shit.
level 3. You just have a +8 in perception. Sure.
So the most important thing for you, Kate, is you have advantage on the next mind-altering effect. That could be charms, that could be frightened, that could be anything along those lines, but you have advantage on the next mind-altering effect that you would suffer.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So you got 15 and a 16. Any higher than that?
18 from Farewell.
Okay.
18 from Farewell.
So Glory, Iden, and Farewell all notice that when Farewell, although they don't know that Farewell's doing it, only Farewell does, her eyes do dart to a object in the corner of the room. It seems to be an enchanted mirror that has like a kind of milky smoke pouring around in it, that when you look at it, the milky smoke dissipates.
Arcana check.
Go for it.
I'll see if I know what it is as well. No.
No, because you didn't see it.
No. Was it to see the mirror?
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
Eclipse can't see it.
Oh yes. That's
Another
better, I rolled
16.
Okay. It's a simple one. This is a form of detect magic. It's a mirror that can be used by people who don't have any magic at all. The color of the smoke that's in the mirror, that appears in the mirror, is representative of the magic that's being used. The white smoke that you saw dissipating is evidence of divine magic.
Okay. So basically, she checked what kind of magic Farewell used.
Yep.
Nice.
And her eyes just flicker for a second, just finding out what it is that has appeared in the glass. So, I believe I owe you an explanation, Cora.
That's one way of putting it.
It would be nice to. It's nice to finally meet you. Having
It is.
going
It's
so
a pleasure.
crazy. Yeah. I'm sorry about this morning, but I'm not used to somebody being so flippant with my freedom.
Of course, and I, of course, would not do anything to turn your freedom into a plaything. Last night, I was informed as to what you were doing. I was in the palace with the Duke, and when I came out, I was told that you very kindly decided to help Olivia. And you notice that Olivia's disappeared. She's just walked off. With a very troubling problem. A problem that required my immediate attention. Otherwise, I would have summoned you there and then last night and gave you my thanks in person. The death of any member of my organisation is such a terrible and grievous thought. Sorry, I'm digressing. But I knew that you had bitten off more than you should have. And so I grabbed hold of what resources I could. One of them being the lovely Alfred over there. And we laid down a series of quick protections. I'm sorry if it was inelegant. We would have thought of better ones if we had more time. Just in case somebody tried to attack you as part of a vengeance attack. So we threw together what we could, and the best one that we could think of, knowing that you two were not present in the tavern, was to teleport you if you took any amount of damage or if you started panicking at all. So with Alfred, who I'm afraid he's a little tired now, he'll be a spry old thing once he's had his nap in front of the fire. Once he was consulted, he did say that the damage that triggered you being teleported, Cora, and it was damage to you that activated the spell, both you and Farewell were linked, you see, was that you fell out of bed or something. It was a minor bruise.
So we weren't attacked at all.
No, it's a little embarrassing. You weren't attacked. You suffered just a very small amount of pain. And because, as I say, we hastily threw together your protection last night whilst also trying to figure out whether we were going to urban war, we screwed up a bit. I do apologise.
Do I feel she's being genuine and forthright with us?
We believe her.
Go for the insight check.
Okay.
Insight check.
I believe every word that she says. I rolled a natural one.
Oh, and I rolled as well. Hold
You're
on.
hanging off her words.
11.
Well, the dices are with me today. I rolled a
19 from me.
22 total.
Oh, I rolled a 9. I got a 19.
Oh.
Okay.
What did I then get?
14.
Decent.
Mine is technically a 7, but of course, natural 1.
So for you, Cora, she's telling a lot of truths, but there are things that she's withholding, and there are definitely things that she's changed. That's as far as your 19 will give you.
Fair enough.
Yours 22.
Same for 22.
Okay.
You didn't beat her, but you got within 5 of her. So.
Oh wow.
Well,
Yeah, on the basis. Sorry, go on, Claire.
no, you go. You go.
I was going to say, on the basis that, like, I fully believe that she's being very genuine with us and that this was all a real mistake and a misunderstanding. My attention's now going to turn to the old guy because I'm a little worried now that my mistake has now potentially put him closer to death's door than he needs to be. So I'm going to just get up and I'm going to go over to him and I'm going to just check him down and just get down near to him and just, Elder, I'm Farewell.
Is that you, Reginald?
No, I'm Farewell. I'm a cleric. Yeah.
Oh, farewell. I will see you. I'll see you later, Reg. Just don't forget to bring back a good brandy.
I will. I'm just gonna look you over. Just don't move too much, okay?
Chance would be a fine thing, but okay.
And yeah, I'm just gonna check him over. I just want to make sure he's all right. I'm worried about the old boy now.
He seems well looked after. He looks a little tired, but that's about it.
I mean, in this situation, fair.
Yeah, but this is going to be most of my attention now.
Yeah.
Is going to be spent with him.
Renata takes a second to watch what you're doing, and when she's satisfied, she says, "So, this was not the conversation we were supposed to be having."
And what was the conversation we were supposed to be having?
Well, you're welcome to the organization, frankly. So, I have spoken to those involved with your little interview and assessment, and I believe that yes, you would do very well here. You seem to understand decorum and the need to use force when force is necessary. As a result, yes, I am happy that we can do this. I'm happy to be a part of this and have you on board. I need people who can work at the top end of things. I've been looking for the right people for some time. I have people who play to their strengths. Good carters, I employ as carters. Those who are organised become administrators. Those with other various talents, like Hecris, who I believe you've already met, apply them as and when they're needed. Oh, she is, isn't she? For you, I need, yes, your abilities to keep yourself safe, to be able to use force and use it in a informed way. But I also need your understanding and insight. I need you to be able to see a situation, receive a request from me, no matter what it is, and understand that it is for the greater good and it is part of how the city behaves. I may ask you to do things that you would think twice about, and think twice you should. Nobody should ever obey somebody blindly. But I need those second thoughts to be fast. I need them to be well executed. I need them to arrive to the conclusion that I would only ask you for good reason, in the quickest of time, and to act. Acting when I ask you to will be the most important thing. What is your take of the last 24 hours? How do you think the city behaved after the Razor Boy's little vendetta and your subsequent defeat of them?
It could have gone better for some of us. And I'm just going back to chatting with the old boy.
Indeed.
You can see Glory like mumbling a little, like trying to speak up, but then like
I jab like Glory like with my elbow like, in the side.
Glory takes 3 points of bludgeoning damage.
Yes.
She got dragon scales. It's fine.
I just quietly jab.
Did we? I mean, I don't. We didn't really paid attention. How did the city seem, Simon? Like, did it? Because we were in our own little bubble a little bit. So, did we notice a change?
The city went on as usual. That's me saying it, not Renata. So, who would like to answer?
Yeah, sorry. By this point, I'm already like doing what I usually do, and I'm playing with a silver, like a piece of silver. And without thinking, I just say, I'm just glad that we managed to save that guy before he got like horribly.
Oh, James, yes, he was very grateful for your intervention. He is James Hobson, by the way. He's a descendant of the original Hobson of Hobson's Holdings. And yes, nobody knows better about how to provide for a city should we ever be under siege than him and his family. They make an art out of it, they really do.
To be honest, Miss Green, I did not notice too much of a change to the city, except that we were very welcome to the Håkan Hannes. And thank you again for the lovely rooms and these lovely bags and everything. Thank you so much.
It's the least I could do, and I should imagine that you'll be needing these tools and supplies in the various tasks that will come up. It's always very difficult planning for the unknown, and you're to effectively be troubleshooters on my behalf. So I give you as much as possible to be able to deal with whatever comes your way.
So I do have one question. How did you know that I was interested in the Heart of Jordan?
Oh, yes, that was, well, obviously I asked around and asked if, how you, what you guys liked and how I could potentially reward you, as any good employer would do so. And presumably in one of the tavern chats that my people had about you, it came up. Now, here's a point. Going back to Simon speaking. Clips, you haven't spoken to many people about this at all.
Ooh.
So I mean, it's not something she keeps secret, but it's not something she goes around and like talks about all the time. Like.
Yeah, I mean, you have applied to the local university for any information, as you've been kind of following your little wannabe architecture, archaeology.
My wannabe Warcraft adventure.
Yeah.
For
so yeah, they.
Yes.
You have inquired, but apparently she got really lucky and spoke to one of the few people you inquired to. Isn't that interesting?
Do I believe her?
I'm going to leave that down to personal choice. I've already given you the information.
Okay. Yes. Right. So, also, how did you get our sizes for the clothes in the wardrobe?
The delights of having a thriving magical resource in my to my disposal. The clothes resize themselves to your bodies the second you touch the handle on the outside door.
Oh. Yes. That makes sense.
I'm going to wander back now. I'll tap him on there. I'll make sure he's got a nice full snifter of brandy, and sort of just walk back over and go, there is one thing. I thought we were supposed to be getting paid for these jobs, not to be too mercenary about these things.
And you were. I sent your wages to the tavern.
You picked them up.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Oh my God.
Glory picks up a bag of gold. I was supposed to give this to you over breakfast, but we seem to have gotten a bit distracted.
Oh,
thank you, darling.
I'm doing this in character. Oh my God.
Thank you, darling.
I'm gonna pat Aiden on the back, just to like, there, it's okay. But slightly patronizingly, like just Jesus, it's okay. There are so many other things to worry about right now.
Than somebody asking for paid for some work.
No. Then someone being forgetful, like.
He's sleep deprived, and he just heard, "Oh yeah, I received the payment, but I forgot to give it to all of you." Like he barely paid attention to the whole, "Oh, I got teleported in my sleep" kind of thing. So for him, this is like the biggest thing he's heard this morning.
Brilliant.
What? Oh, are we going to do with you?
Huh?
That's where you say
Anyway,
It's not too bad.
it's how much does it work out, by the way, per person?
How much more was it?
I think
It was
about
40 gold.
17. I think it's about 17 gold per person.
Oh.
You've effectively just got, and this is just a small thing. You've effectively just got just over 2 weeks of living a very good life. But of course, you get everything for free, so that's just 17 gold each in your pocket.
Yeah.
Which,
Nice.
like, you've seen Eclipse do Wide-Eye Kitten. Now you're watching Eclipse do it, because that is probably the most money
You
he's
mean farewell?
ever seen.
Yeah.
Sorry, Farewell. Yeah, I'm Farewell.
Yeah, I'm Eclipse.
For Eclipse.
So
Yeah.
you guys kind of quickly look at the gold whilst, with a slightly bemused look on her face, Renata kind of sits back and says, finally, when you guys kind of dish out the gold to each other, she says, "So let me enlighten you. When the Razor Boys went around the city, deciding to go around and take a stab, literally, at many of the factions in the city, the king of thieves in the Liberty Quarter had a number of people sending him very irate messages. It was clear that they were acting without his approval or his orders, or at least we'd like to think so. And the political landscape of the city started to change. We've had a few times in the history of the city scourges where we have had to go into the slums and denizens of the city and clear out any undesirables, weaken them, bring the city back into balance. If this had happened, there would have been a great purge of the Liberty Quarter. Troops would have been sent in. Many of the factions would have been forced to send their people in as well. I would have had to have sent a number of my enforcers in with the troops, and they would have arrested many, killed a lot, and brought the population down in the Liberty Quarter to about a half of what it currently is. Now, the Liberty Quarter is where the Thieves Guild operates. They have control. Many of their members live there. But so do their parents, their children, their partners. And there are people who have lived in the Liberty Quarter all their life. They live under the king. He looks after them. He knows as much as the rest of us what would have happened. He wouldn't have suffered. He would have put his protection around him, but many of his people would have suffered. He would have failed in what we all try to do here in the city, and that is keep the balance, serve our people, make sure that it all doesn't come crashing down around us. This city works hard, and it produces a great deal for the Duke and for the Empire, and is one of the richest cities, if not the richest city in Vardencourt. But, much like a giant flywheel, that power, that speed at which it turns, it has to be kept in check. It has to be kept in balance. If the flywheel falls off its hinges, it runs amok, trashing everything in its path. Everything and everyone. My job, albeit it was something that I came to some time ago, and I was a stranger to the city back then, but fate placed it upon my shoulders. We make sure that that flywheel turns, but that it stays straight, and it's held up by strong columns, to extend the metaphor. I will do everything that I can to keep that balance and to stop the small people of the city. I do not mean that as a dig, by the way. I mean that because that's what they're called. Small because they're not seen. Small because they can be crushed. We have to think of them as small to protect them, as we would a child. The people who are under my care, the people who live in the streets with my symbol, those who put my symbol on their clothes to protect them, doing what they're doing, going to where they have to go, they are effectively my children, my family, the only family that I have, and I will do anything to protect them. And you have to be part of that word, anything. Do you understand?
Excuse me. Makes sense.
Sure.
Thank you for the work, and I will do what is needed to do the jobs, but I answer to a higher power than even you, and I won't do anything that will compromise that. So
you shall never be asked to do so.
You'll forgive this, as I don't believe that, but maybe you'll prove me wrong, and I look forward to perhaps you doing so. But I come from a structure where trust, loyalty is earned, and it is not given freely.
I would not expect it to be any other way. A lot of the places that I intend to send you will require you to be that wary. And when I say that I will never ask you to do something that would be against what your God would tell you to do, I know the Raven Queen. She is a harsh god compared to the others. Much harsher, and she pulls out a little trinket that's kind of in a pouch at her belt, and she shows you the symbol of Ayun, the mistress that I hold first, the one that has helped me throughout my life. And as she kind of shows you this kind of this rosary, I guess it's more like a charm bracelet. She shows you that next to Ayun, she has the symbol for Arathis. The gods ask us to achieve great things, but they also ask us to achieve them by a certain method. I will always follow that method, but this is a harsh world. I shouldn't need to tell you, of all people, that. Farewell. Look at who I've put together. Glory comes from a place of great distrust. She plays a very deadly game where she comes from. She will give you that insight as you complete the tasks set before you. I comes from a family that at one point was heroic throughout Vardencourt. I must admit I haven't heard a great deal about them recently. And they have had to walk into the most dark of places in order to protect people they'll never meet.
Sorry, Rodrigo, what did you say?
I freeze immediately when she says that, and I'm just glaring at her because I don't know if I mentioned this, and if I didn't, I'm really sorry. Aiden has made an effort to not say his last name or to not let be known that he's from the Canals. He only presents himself as Aiden.
Yeah.
So when she says, "Oh, he comes from a prestigious family of hunters," he freezes and he glares at her.
Yep. Yep. I got your character notes, and yeah, she's looked into all of your backgrounds as far as she can. So she says, Eclipse, a hunter of men women, bandits, thieves, debtors, you name it. And then for balance, I needed people who would bring you back down to earth. With these specialists, I needed people who were capable, yes, talented, certainly, but grounded, essential. Between Cora's humble, well, not beginnings. Have only been in this city, what, 1, 2 years?
2.
From Cora's beginnings in Ostergald, she went straight into Freetown. First mentions of her from the people that I spoke to was 2 years ago. Walking straight in and going straight to the slums, not even attempting to be in the heart of the city. Just going straight to the slums and being one of the people, doing what she can, where she can. Bending the law, as so many do in this city, yes, but not to any detrimental means. Certainly no unethical means. And then you, farewell.
By the way, mine's 1 year. She
In
would
that
have
case,
said 1 year.
She would have said
But
1 year then. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then you farewell. The man who lives in effectively a box behind a church and goes from door to door, picking up the elderly, the sick, those lost way before their time, comforting the people who love them the most, and then taking that trust as you take the body and prepare it for its final journey. You're the roots by which the rest of you will grow.
It's a caravan, not a box.
I love that final description.
I was being lyrical about this. Of course it is a caravan.
It's...
I believe that you are the perfect blend for what I need. And you will be able to do things with decorum and know why you're doing as well. And also you'll know when to stop, when to say no, when to come back and say, no, we did not do as you say. And we shouldn't have done what you say. Have that integrity, because that integrity is my integrity. It's
And
how
if
the
we
public see me.
If we do come back and say we haven't done what you told us to do, what then?
Then I will be
can't
very
imagine that
interested
would
to
be
find
well.
out what information, what reasoning, what did I not know that you clearly found out that made it that what I said should be was not to be.
Will we be given reasons for doing things? Will we be told why we have to do certain things? Or is it just go kill someone with no reasoning?
You're not assassins. Don't worry. Sometimes you may have to be, as you had to be.
We were yesterday.
Yes, you were. You won't always be assassins. For the most part, you'll be investigators, but I will be able to throw you into places where you can investigate, where there will be dangers. And I dare say that you'll have to use the many skills that you have to defend yourself as you collect the answers I seek. But no, you're not assassins. I have assassins. I have enforcers. I have people who can just go around and, crack heads. I don't need that. I need people who can get to the heart of the matter and do the right thing. And yes, as you say, if I find that it is applicable to give you all of the reasons, I will give you all of the reasons. Sometimes, down to privacy, I won't be able to give you the reasons. But that's when I need trust. There are times when I can only tell you the reasons for what you're doing after you've done them. And if I can, I will tell you. Sometimes I have to protect others of my people and just insist that as my employees, you do as I say. Unless, as I say, you find that there's a deal breaker. And then, as I say, come and speak to me and we will sort it out.
That's very interesting, Miss Green. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shall we have
So-
tea? I think tea is probably a very good idea right now. And
Tea sounds very nice.
out of character for Renata, as is Simon speaking. I think we take a bit of a bio break there because it's 20 to 10.
Yep, sure.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Right. We will be back after 10 minutes and we'll carry on with Renata's little discussion with you guys and the next step in your adventure.
Eat.
Stop.
Be right back.
Food is
I'm
stabbing.
gonna get stabbed.
Don't worry, I've got 3 healing potions.
We can
Yes,
connect on
we're
the
all
screen.
fine now.
Everyone's dead.
We'll see you all in 10 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We've all had much needed coffees and various other bits because a couple of us have got colds. And when we left off, Renata Green was having tea with the we need to get a name for your group, but with the party.
With the
And
team, the A team.
very British high tea comes out, and she starts making polite conversation, which is very strange considering this is a feared and respected personality within the city. She starts talking to you about various Mummer shows that she's seen recently. She recalls lines and various other aspects about it, laughing heartily for a lot of the recollections. And there's something just disturbingly normal and human about the, as I say, relatively young woman sat in front of you. She starts talking about other things, places to eat within the city, like she's recommending these places. She does drop little caveats to certain places and say, oh, well, it's owned by these people, so be respectful if you do go there, especially with my symbol. And other times she says, oh, they're one of ours. Just kind of suggesting that you would eat there for free, maybe? The little conversation, little moment of humanity and, as I say, disturbing grace comes and goes. And she puts down her tea on a saucer, of course, clears her throat and says, before I talk to you about what I would like to be your next mission, I'd like to give you an opportunity. Right here, right now, being that we didn't actually come to any formal agreement, you can walk away. You can walk away, go back to your lives as you know them, and I will not take offense. I want to do this properly.
Is
Do
this
you
our
want to
one
stay?
opportunity to do that?
No,
Is
of
there
course
no-
not.
no
But
going back up?
I want to offer you the chance to walk away now as friends and live your lives and be happy. I need people. I need people. I need you. You know, I am the one who has the need right now. I won't be. I won't allow you to use that to your advantage to negotiate more than I've given. I think I've been more than generous. But
Right.
I am the one that needs you. And so I say in all humility now that I want you to stay. I want us to have a very good working relationship with each other. But if you need to walk away, and I would rather offer it than think that you somehow seem beholden to me, then you can go.
Can I roll insight?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's 19.
Okay. She's
21.
she's genuinely giving you this opportunity to leave. What she's just said seems to be absolutely honest.
Even the part that she said that she needs us and etc. etc.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the bit where she says that she needs you.
Well, Miss Green, you are my best chance in finding what I'm looking for, so I'm staying. And also, I am enjoying all of these little extra luxuries you're giving us. It's very, very nice.
Well, some of your missions you'll be spending in discomfort, so the least I could do is give you comfort the rest of the time.
Oh,
That is
yes.
absolutely fine.
I must admit, this is quite reminding me of home.
That's
It
why
will
you were
be
chosen,
nice.
Glory.
Indeed.
I'm looking at Aiden.
I'm doing the same. Actually, I'm ever since the freak out of his name is.
I didn't like noticeably freak out. It just froze. But yeah, I'm fucking shooting daggers at her with my eyes.
Still, at this point, still.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She's
Okay, I'm
not
definitely
reacting.
watching you to see what your reaction's going to be then.
Oh.
Guys?
Well, Aiden seems a little quiet. I
You're right, friend.
personally, and we kind of look to Farewell. I'm not sure what he's going to say, but I'm like, I don't have quite the beliefs that Farewell has, so I'm more my own person in that sense, but I do have certain rules I like to go by. You talked a lot about the small people, and you seem to have their interests at heart, but you live very differently to them.
I do.
And so you can't know quite how they live. And you can't get this without stepping on a few people.
Roll insight check, please.
Just Cora?
Just for now, yeah.
Remember,
memorize my stuff.
Oh no, wait. Insight is wisdom.
Insight is wisdom, yeah. 15, 18.
Not bad.
When you say that she doesn't understand what other people, what the other people go through, or what they live like, there's a moment of stiffening, a little in her neck, a little in her shoulders, just the slightest air of body language, almost like she's either offended or is about to say something, but then doesn't. For the rest of you, don't tell me what you've rolled, but you can roll a dice now, and if you get above 16, you also notice it. So, she says, yes, I live where I live. I use the large building that we are now sat in to help as many people as possible. Alfred lives here. I look after him. Olivia lives here. We look after each other. The same for Maggie, who I believe you met when you first came here, and many other people. And other people work here. This is their workplace. I do not live in, well, I guess you could call this a mansion. I just see it as a large and very functional building. I live here because in a pinch, this is where I'm needed. It has all the resources I need. Why would I live away from the resources that I can use to protect other people and, yes, myself? But you'll see that there's no major magical items around here, only the stuff I need to use. There are no fountains of golden water, which I believe they have in Skara. And there's no major luxuries that are around here. Everything that I have, all the magical accoutrement, and she touches her neck, that I have, is because day in, day out, someone's trying to kill me.
I understand, and I did not mean to offend. I simply wanted to say that I'm willing to work for you. My only thing that I would hesitate on is anything that would make it harder for those small people. I haven't been here long, as you say, but the people of Freetown, where I've made my home, are like my family. I understand their hardships, and I wouldn't want to make life harder on those people. Does that make sense, and does that interfere with your thinking?
Not at all. And for those in Freetown, Robar and I we see eye to eye on a great many issues. I look after my people, he looks after his. It's a path of least resistance for us to not be enemies, for us to share as practically as we can about the things that we might need. And when there's a storm, we'll help each other out with storm protection. When there's bandits that are harassing the outside of Freetown, but they're also harassing my deliveries and my operatives coming in and out of the city, we will band together and make sure those people are put to justice. We have not formed any form of alliance, but we find ourselves able to work with each other more often than not, whereas this is not true of many other factions in the city. The Merchants Guild think that both myself and Robar are upstarts that shouldn't be here. There are old nobles that live throughout the city who believe that we should not be in charge, that they should be in charge, relying on old family names rather than the capabilities that I hope you see all around you. There are many other people. There are some to whom we have a friendship with, but it's a friendship of personality, whereas politically we may end up being set at war with our friends in order to protect our own people. We all know this. Robar knows this. The Merchants Guild know this. They know that it doesn't matter whether they like me or hate me. They will have to be allied to me if they hate me, but it's in the interest of their people. They will have to go to war with me even if they think I'm the most amazing person in the world, if it means it serves their people's interest. I'm oddly as much, if not more, of a puppet than you are. I can have no friends. I can have no visible family. It's just as well I have none. Because every day I am the target. The target isn't on your belt, and she points to the green organization symbol on your belt. That's not the target. Everybody looks at that and they see maybe an enemy or someone that needs to be dealt with or a threat, but that's because they see us as a whole, and as a whole we are strong. I am that keystone that you crack me, the whole thing falls down. So I understand. And thank you, Cora. I do need to be reminded from time to time that despite my humble origins, that I have travelled quite some way since that time of me being a little girl.
Well, I cannot really judge you for your lifestyle and for trying to grow if that is your background. But considering I am here now living in your fancy tavern and taking your gold, so we all do things for reasons.
Indeed.
I feel it's probably not the right time since we've only just met, but I am fascinated as to how you've come to be this place, and considering you look no older than myself, really. You have clearly done well.
Yes. I've led an interesting life. A very fast, interesting life. As you will know, the Green Organization, as it now stands, is just under 10 years old. And before that, there were a number of smaller organizations that looked after certain neighborhoods within the city. I was part of one of those before the Green Organization started. I was not native to the city, as with yourself, and I was at the right place at the wrong time. The leader of the small faction that I was at that point climbing quite high in, I showed myself to be quite capable. Being magically trained was definitely useful. I was magically trained through a family member who's now long passed away. And I did not go to university, although many people make that assumption. And the opportunity came up. He died. I was voted to be the leader of this small faction at a point where all the factions were coming together. These small factions came together, and there was an argument and a fight, and many of the leaders killed each other. I was one of 3 leaders that remained, and the other 2 leaders were not trusted by some of the other factions that were trying to come together, trying to merge. I was, for all intents and purposes, an outsider, as close to neutral as you could get. So they decided to give me a try, and the rest is history.
Of course, can I insight check?
Do I believe her?
Do it. And once again, I'll give a DC after Kate rolls, and you guys can roll to see whether or not you guys saw it.
Whilst she's monologuing a little bit, which is fine, I'm going to lean over to Aiden, and I'm just going to say very softly, "Not here, not now. You're here because you need something, just like we all are. This isn't the moment. We should pick our moment. Wait."
So, Kate, what was your insight score?
7.
7. You're taken up in the monologue. The rest of you, if and again, don't say what you rolled, but if you roll and you get a 20 or above, anything below 20, she's just telling some history. You get caught up in the narrative. If you get above 20, there is a certain amount of holding back with a tinge of regret. But she does appear to be recalling things rather than making it up.
I got a 20, or 18 plus 2, so it's 20.
20 flat will do it, yeah.
I rolled a nat 20.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, as I say, there's just that little inkling, so your characters can act on it at a later date if you wish, or whatever, there's a certain amount of either regret or something that shows that she's either holding back or has maybe changed some of the minor details.
Farewell's a good multitasker. He can do that and talk to Aiden at the same time.
It was more of just a one-off whisper before it went off back to listening to her. Probably during the bits you were asking, but I didn't want to jump. I didn't want to jump in during the actual narrative.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a good way to just keep everything flowing.
Oh, that's great.
So she says, "So are you interested in the next job? I'm assuming that you're all happy to remain for now."
I look at Farewell.
I just nod.
Olivia, and without you hearing any footsteps, Olivia is standing behind you.
I jump. Like,
Yeah.
My
I kinda do
tail
a jump.
brushes up, like, you know, cats when they get scared, like the tail.
Does Olivia look like a cucumber?
Okay, we have officially found the dank meme of tonight.
Hell yeah.
There we go. I don't need a commission of Olivia now. I'm just going to draw a cucumber. If and when I get around to maybe doing a commission of Olivia, I don't know who I'd go for. As much as I would like to do everything with Michelle, again, for people who want to look her up at Feline Trickster, there are some other artists that I've already spoken to already where they're like, "Oh, I'd like to do this person, I'd like to do that person." So I've got one person who's already interested in doing the King of Thieves. So I was like, yep.
Nice.
So that'll probably be in the new year. So she goes, I'm terribly sorry, Eclipse.
Wait, I'm gonna do a Christmas saving throw.
You're very good at sneaking up on people.
Okay, I saved. I did not hiss at her.
Okay. Hello, Eclipse.
Sorry, Olivia. You were very quiet.
It behooves me to be quiet. I do a lot throughout the house when people are studying and sometimes sleeping, so I do the best I can. You notice that when Olivia talks that she has a slight, but as much as she's as well spoken as Renata is a lot calmer when she speaks, whereas Olivia, she has a slight edge, a bit judgmental edge to her voice, a little more authority than Renata. Renata has a kind of calm assuredness about her, whereas Olivia has more of a direct kind of like she talks as if she's giving an order. And there's a little bit of condescension from Olivia as well. So yes,
my tail is going like the irritated cat, like
flick, flick, flick,
flick,
flick.
flick,
Yeah.
flick, flick.
Yes,
still,
Renata.
like, very...
And Renata turns and says, can you please send Emily up? And she goes, immediately. And she walks off. This time you hear footfalls when she walks off. But you do perception check. Let's just see if anybody gets above a 17.
Fucker. I clearly did
Ooh,
not.
yes,
Natural
20.
18, so
So natural 18 for me as well, so 20.
21.
19 plus 3.
Yeah, 21.
Okay, so most of you get this. She's deliberately stepping harder so that you can hear her footfalls. I think it's the first time
clearly did
I've
not
ever
notice. I'm
had
sure
somebody in a
after
role-playing game walking sarcastically. So, yeah, there's a little bit of, what do you call it? Hip ball heel? As she's walking along, almost as if she's being coached by a dance teacher. So, yeah. And so she swans off. She comes back a few minutes later with.
But while she's gone, I'm just gonna ask, like, to look at Renata. I'm like, does she have the ability to teleport?
She's arcane trained like the rest of us, but she didn't teleport just then. There's normally a slight smell of burning when someone teleports in, like I'm told it's the smell of burning ozone, and there's also a very slight pop when people appear with teleporting. There's almost no way of keeping that quiet unless you can cast some form of silence at range and then teleport into the silence.
Almost as silent as the grave.
Indeed. She looks at you with a kind of, okay, that was uncalled for. Olivia comes back a few minutes later with a very kind of humbled-looking, but quite buff, half-elven woman. This is possibly the most hench half-elf you've ever seen. Elves tend to have a slight nature to them. Half-elves tend to be more slight than humans. She's clearly got a very strong influence from the human part of her blood, being that she's, as I say, she's pretty hench. I mean, she's got, strong shoulders, strong biceps. She's wearing a kind of a vest top, and you can see there's little pitted scars running up her arms, up both arms, and there's that kind of roomy, red-eyed look that you would have thought that maybe she'd been crying or something like that, but you recognize it more as that of a blacksmith. Looking into the fire, all of the various kind of gases that come off melting and smelting down the various metals and things means that they do get a lot of irritated eyes and things. And you fair well know that smiths that don't have good facilities have come to you a few times with what is effectively the blacksmith's version of Archive. And she comes in and Renata says, please, Emily, please, friends, among friends here, come, sit down. And Olivia brings up another chair. And she goes, if you could explain to my colleagues here what you explained to me. And Emily goes, well, begging your pardon, I don't know your names, but it's a pleasure to meet you all.
Hello, friend.
I'm Emily Mosley. I'm down in the artisans' quarter. I've got a little smithy there, and I work with rare metals. And well, things hadn't been going very well with my family since my dad passed away. He's the one that taught me how to do forging of various rare metals. I do cold forging as well as the regular fire forge, and I can turn metal with magic as well if I've got the right stuff. And as I say, things just weren't going well since the old man left. He left us a couple of winters ago. Caught a bad chill. Stubborn old bugger, just wouldn't go off to the clerics. Said he was fine, he just needed to work it out on the anvil. And it just took him by surprise one night. I carried on in his footsteps, probably a little too early. And my brothers tried their hand, but I was always the one with the skills. They were heading off for other things, and so we started to get into a bit of debt. We were paying our guild dues and so on, but we had to sell off a few things too cheap. And that was maybe my fault. Couldn't make them high enough quality, and so I decided that the best way to get back on top was to blow our savings effectively on some mithril. And in order to smith mithril, I don't know if any of you know about smithing, but the only way to...
Can I just take and put on my apron?
Yeah, sure. You guys watch as the cat rummages around in her bag, pulls out a regular leather apron, like anything that you've seen in any shop, grocers, workshop, and things like that, and she just puts it on without a second word. Emily continues and says, So I was in the market for a very special type of hammer. Mithril, it misbehaves, you see. It's part of its magical nature. It's one of those things that it's really, really hard. It's why it makes good armor.
I am suddenly nodding along like I understand everything she's saying.
Yeah. By this time, the apron has started to take effect. Yeah. And so the only way to beat it down so that you're able to work with it, but you don't end up just shattering the damn stuff, which would take quite a lot of welly, I can tell you. But the thing is it won't budge, and it won't budge, and it won't be shaped, and it won't be shaped, and then you hit it hard enough and it shatters, and you've got to try melting it down again, which after a while it just starts going a bit weird. So the best way to do it is with a very specific hammer. There's an enchantment, and I had all the details of the enchantment in the book. I've still got it in the book, and so I looked out for an enchanter to enchant one of my dad's hammers. the idea was we'd sink our money into as much mithril as we could get our hands on. I'd get the enchanted hammer. I'd make a few pieces. I'd sell them for a very high price. I mean, any mithril that gets sold in the city is always of the highest price, and we were just going to make a name for ourselves by specializing in that one metal. Now, I had worked with it before, but I had to go to the guild hall to use one of their hammers, and the problem is they won't let you just have it to work your own stuff. It's there for training. So I went off and I found this enchanter. Now, okay, you're probably going to tell me off here because my mum did, but I found him in the pub.
Darling.
But that's where business is. You go to a tavern, you find people who can do what they can do, and it wasn't as if I just kind of paid him there and then on anything. He called me over to the guild hall, and we went to the guild hall, and he showed me what he could do. He showed me some of his wares. He showed me his maker's mark and all the rest of it. And after I saw enough, I agreed, and we got to it, and I paid him, and I gave him the hammer. And he said he'd be right at it, and he gave me an address to go to the next day. And I was just glad that I could get anyone to do it. I didn't think anybody was going to give me the light of day. I say I'm behind on the guild fees, so they won't talk to me at the moment. And
do I know if enchanting an item would normally take just a day, or would it normally take longer?
It would normally take longer.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, it's clear that she doesn't know about enchantment. She's got all the details. She knows everything from the smith side of things. But it's only your arcane knowledge, not the apron, that's telling you.
Yeah, I was going to say my arcane knowledge, because I'm actually an arcane class, or a bit of arcane class.
So yeah, she says I went to the address the next day, and it was an enchanter's shop. I went in there and I asked after him. I asked after Zev, and the guy started laughing and said that he was a wrong 'un, and I'm not likely to see him ever again. Apparently, it's a little prank he likes to play from time to time. He comes in with a few bits of his work. He is an enchanter, and he promises you the earth, asks for to take your grandfather's sword or something like that. He'll turn it into like a flaming sword or whatever, and he walks away with it and he sells it, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to sell my dad's hammer, which it's got little awards on it and stuff. It's one of the things we used to hang up in the shop. I thought if we were going to make a family legacy, it was going to be his. And he took the cash, and that's it. He's gone.
What was his name again?
His name.
So, yes, darling. Just for the future, I assume this is something we're gonna deal with right now. But for the future, if someone promises you something to be enchanted in a day, they are lying. Enchanting takes a lot more time than just a day.
Well, that's good to know that now, but...
Yes, just for the future. But this, I assume this green that this is something you want us to deal with.
She goes, definitely. I've heard of this Zev character. He owns a small keep that's outside of the city limits, but it's only about 3 or 4 hours ride away. I'll provide transport, of course. And yes, as Emily says, he likes to come in and take advantage of what he thinks of as stupid people. And will normally very loudly crow about it. He sneaks into the city. He has a hat of disguise. He'll sneak into the city, and then he will make this deal, and then he will con them for whatever he wishes to take off them, and then he'll go back home, his sport sated, until he comes back the next time.
Miss
My-
Green, how do we know that they've not sold the hammer already?
This was last night. Zev has to find a buyer. And also he has to find a buyer who will not immediately take it to the guild once they see the maker's marks. I'd say we've got some time. Not only that, but I followed his purchases throughout the city. He intends to perform that enchantment on the hammer. Presumably, he's going to enchant the hammer and then sell it to who? Somebody in a different port? Will he give it to one of his agents to take to, I don't know, Halesport, Roansport, who knows where? Maybe one of the many ports in Ostrom, and sell it on. Or maybe this is a little more structured, and one of Emily's competitors are already keyed up to buy the hammer.
So he does this just for sport? Why, if he's an enchanter, doesn't he just take any old hammer and do that? Like, why go to the trouble of getting this one from Emily? Is it just because he likes the sport of it?
Zev is a very bitter man, from what I've been told. I've never met the man. I never heard of him until last night. This was my briefing before bed. But yes, he apparently likes to remind people of how superior he is. Apparently he lives in that keep with his siblings. I've been told siblings, I don't know how many. And they live in the lap of luxury thanks to the skills that they have between them. But he, as you say, he could turn a very good living by being a legitimate businessman. But from what I can tell, he prefers to live as a hermit. He doesn't think very highly of anybody in the city, whether it be myself, the Duke, the Merchants Guild, the Guildhall, any of them. He likes to come in, sow a little chaos, walk out richer than he came in.
So what is it that you actually want us to do? Just get the hammer back, or teach him a lesson, or tell him never to come back in the city again, or 3, or what?
I would be satisfied with you returning the hammer, whether enchanted or not. Returning the gold, if it is not enchanted. If it is enchanted, he can keep the gold. He's clearly used some of his resources. And then once you have the hammer, and if not enchanted, the gold, I want you to warn him. I want you to intimidate him. I want you to give him a reason to fear the symbol that is on your belt. How you do it is up to you. But other people will have their livelihoods ruined if he is not brought to bear. He needs to obey. He needs to understand that coming into this city and messing with its denizens, whether they are mine or anyone else, will have consequences. And yes, if he does this again to another one of my organization, and you notice at that point there is a tiny little symbol on Emily's apron, same as the one that you have at your hip. If he does it again, I will consider it that he is incapable of being taught, and I will kill him.
Oh, wow.
Do we know if he would come back into the city to sell it?
You personally, Miss Green. And yeah, go on.
No, we can say that at the same time. And
Yeah.
I may be too busy to do it myself, but I will have a personal hand in its execution. People who make sport of the common folk, thinking them brainless idiots, who can just be trifled with. He, in my opinion, is the very worst kind. And also, he's the very worst kind with some amount of power. I've been told that he has killed people who have gone to his, as I say, it's an old border fort. It would be in ruin if it wasn't for the abilities that he has. They've gone knocking on the door, and when they have tried to batter the door down, he simply stood on the ramparts and obliterated them with his powers.
So, getting in through another way is what you're saying, so sneaking in rather than going through the front door.
No, I don't want you to sneak in. I want you to walk in as a representative of the Green organization. I want you to walk in and say that you have an appointment with him, whether he likes that appointment or not.
A door can be destroyed. Not that hard.
Oh, yes. Where a previous caveat for my warehouse was not to burn the place down, I really do not have a problem if you end up razing that entire fort to the ground.
I think this will go on really well.
To just escape free race to glory, we're all doomed.
Can I ask?
I would say that you need to maybe veer away from mindless slaughter, but certainly make yourself memorable.
But you would rather us go there and approach him direct than to wait for him to maybe re-enter the city, watch him and see him re-enter the city to try and sell the item. You want a bold front.
I don't think he would do that. I think he would use one of his many mediaries to sell the item. Right. Assuming that the person isn't going to go out to him and pick it up directly themselves. And yes, you're quite right. I want a bold front. I want the Green organization to knock on their door. And now that you are willing associates bearing that name, that is exactly what's going to happen when you turn up.
Of course, Miss Green.
Okay.
And you don't know of any others. You don't know the details of how many people are in this keep, apart from just siblings?
Not many. As far as I can tell, the Zev and his siblings live there. There are servants that come and go. They don't live there, the servants. They go there, do what they need to do, and leave again. And there are a few trusted guards, probably no more than 4, that patrol the walls.
Okay.
Sometimes we've seen 6 guards, but no more than 6. We think that that was probably when they had a changing of shifts or something. Usually there's only 4 there.
But it's smart to assume that all siblings, however many, potentially have powers of some kind.
Zev has a form of born natural power, so it is, you can assume, yes, I think you'd be correct in assuming that the other siblings follow in the same footsteps.
All right.
And you want just us to go?
Yes. I don't want to send an army, because to do so would be to inflate his ego, and I do want him alive at the end of this and compliant. What I want to do is send a small team of specialists to go, rattle him, intimidate him, get what is ours, bring it back to who it really belongs to, and she nods to Emily, and yes, I think that would be a very suitable end to this. And I have already commissioned Emily to perform her first mithril piece for me, so that the second that she gets the hammer, she will be earning once again. And Emily's kind of there going, "Thank you, miss."
Okay.
Are we done here?
If we were to find other things other than the hammer that are already enchanted,
Oh my god.
Recover
Oh, dear.
only the hammer.
There we go. Do not rock the guy.
All right.
Okay.
I will see to it to your best judgment. But I will trust in your best judgment. If you see something there that you think may be a danger to the city, you could confiscate it maybe. Bring it back here and turn it into the authorities.
Maybe the hat.
Ooh, I want the hat.
A cat wants the hat. A cat in the hat.
I will put a
Again.
caveat on taking the items. If you can find that damned hat and destroy it or take it for yourself, please go right ahead. I think the guards will be very happy to see the end of that thing.
Exactly. Well,
With pleasure,
Okay.
Miss Green.
any time limit on this?
I would say strike while the iron is hot. And bear in mind, it's like, at this point, it's something like 5 to 11. You have got
In
the
the
rest of
morning?
the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 to 11 in the morning. Because you were picked up at 10:30, remember? And
Yes, we got the rest of the day to get this done. You said 3 to 4 hours to get there.
yes, 3 to
Should
4
be
hours should be
doable.
fine. The carriage goes quite fast, and it's yours for the day.
Oh, let's go. Like, we.
Should keep going.
I maybe should go back to the inn and pick up the items that were provided. And you
Oh,
see
yes.
that Cora still got her old bag. The only thing she has is that pouch of healing potions that she put
Yeah.
on instantly. She hasn't taken the bag of holding or anything. She grabbed all of her own gear and was like very like, I want all of my shit. So that's the only thing for her.
Yeah.
Well, if you'd excuse us, I think we probably should start working on this. And I get up, I leave.
Sure.
I give a little nod and I kind of follow him if I get the impression that we're allowed to leave.
You do, and Renata does say to you, Cora, being that she knows that you're the one who was the most irate, although she has kind of been saying it and looking over at Farewell because she heard of his little loudhailer experiment, and she says, Cora, I'm very, very glad that we could talk about this and resolve it. Thank you very much for your understanding.
When I
You're
get up,
welcome.
I give Renata a deep bow. Say, thank you so much, Miss Green. I think we'll meet each other again very soon.
Yes, I would like that.
When Glory has a slight wiggle in her hips as she walks out, and
Oh
right
my
before
God.
the door, she turns around and waves.
At least she didn't slut drop on her way out, which is
Yeah.
to happen if I'm completely honest with you. On the door frame, she just sort of goes, drops, and comes back up again.
I mean, yes, but no.
Glory, when you wave to her, she does. She gives a kind of. I don't know how to describe it, and I'd probably be worse at acting it. She gives what seems to be a kind of momentary. It's not a derision, a scoff of derision, but she kind of does that kind of thing, almost like oh look what you've done, you've broken my calm veneer kind of thing. As she kind of just does a momentary laugh, and then she kind of just waves you away again, not cruelly. She waves you away as if to say, I guess if somebody who was really bad at social would be kind of away with you, you scamp, or something like that. But she doesn't speak like that. She speaks very normal. And she just kind of laughs and just kind of waves you away as if to say, go on. Which you know that she's probably playing a little bit of courtly flirting with you momentarily. As you guys leave.
Soon
Oh, go on.
I've not left yet.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't mind actually. Like when she said that, I want. Go for it, farewell.
No, you go. Go on.
So I want to say, as those guys head out, I appreciate what you tried to do, and if you and would appreciate your protection as you were trying. The only thing I would request is maybe with less haste, you would be able to set it up more effectively. I'm trying not
and
to be rude.
inform you that we're doing it as well. I do apologise. There was a lot going
Indeed.
on in one day.
And-
We threw
and
it together rather hastily, and again, I do apologise.
Indeed. I mean, if we were able to at least be aware of the problem even before you pulled us from it, then there would be less confusion and misunderstanding. And
Of course.
we may also be able to, if nothing else, provide a what's the word? Like a recognition of the person, so that we can have revenge if someone is trying to attack. Being pulled out without seeing, we are
course.
unaware of who we are being attacked by.
Of course.
But
a quick favour, if you don't mind, Cora. She picks up the quill, and instead of writing on the piece of paper in front of her, she puts her arm over to her spellbook and says, "How do you spell that surname again?"
Yosnal.
Yes. How do you spell? And when you say Yosanal, she scritches it down in the paper in the book that you can't see because it's on a lectern, a small iron lectern, like the one you put like a cookbook on or something. And she goes, "How do you spell that again?"
YOS.
Scritch, scritch, scritch.
IN.
Scritch, scritch.
AL.
Scritch, scritch.
Cora is really trying to remain calm, but she is freaking out right now.
She's just asking you how to spell your last name.
She
You don't
looks
know.
She looks at the book, frowns for a fraction of a second, and then suddenly turns to you, smiling, and goes, "Oh, that'll be all. Thank you."
I'm still stood in the middle of the room. I've not left. I've not moved.
Oh, I've left
am.
already.
I'm probably like sweeping my eyes past farewell, but I am turning away and I am walking out, or at least like, well, I don't want to leave Emma completely, but I'm turning away from her.
Okay.
As soon as we're out of earshot, which is probably as soon as we're out of the fucking house,
Never out of earshot.
I just go, yeah, whatever. Like, I just go, I need a fucking drink.
You always need a drink at Aiden. But right now we need to go and retrieve a hammer. As soon as Farewell is... has Farewell gone with us?
No, I'm
he's still in the room. He's still in the room.
As soon as Mr. Barebones has joined us.
I do
Okay.
think Cora wants her stuff, so we can probably take a beer with us.
Okay.
In ye old travel mug.
Got a lid and everything.
Aiden's travel mug of beer.
Take it.
Or
Take a sip out of
whiskey.
your fucking
With
canteen.
the straw in it as well, you know.
Yeah.
Right. So Farewell.
What's farewell?
You're last to leave. I'm gonna let you do whatever observations you want to. Good old Alfred.
Sorry?
You said that you were remaining whilst the others were leaving.
Yeah. I don't do scary or like being scared or like people abusing magic or things that shouldn't exist in the cycle, and I will stare very slightly at Olivia.
Olivia is sat across from Alfred and she's enjoying the fire. When she sees that you're looking at her, she flashes you a smile that is neither kind nor cruel, winks at you, and then ignores you completely and looks at the fire again.
I will ask a favor, and in return, I will do anything you ask.
Who's this to?
This is to Renata.
Of course. What can I help you with?
Stop looking.
Stop looking?
At all of us. At all of us. You've looked. You've found your information. You've brought us together. You know. You've laid enough praise on, put enough things in front of us, given us enough treats to chase. You don't need to keep looking. Leave us to each other, and we shall deliver everything that you ask. Dig. I feel that even you will not like what comes out. I do not do this to scare you because I know I can't. I am not a scary man. I never have been. But I know what happens if you keep prying. So please, stop.
I think that you overestimate the level to which I have looked into your backgrounds. I've looked enough to assure myself that I am not bringing any corruption into my organisation. And I, yes, went a little bit further to find out about your personalities, to make sure that your motivations were understandable, if not completely honest. I have what I need. I'm not going to be digging any further. I have what I need.
Fine.
And at that point, she pointedly underlines something in her book.
Cora is outside the door watching Farewell, but out of eye line of Renata. But she didn't want to leave him. So she heard at least, well, I assume, I'd like to assume she heard most of that, but I can roll for it if you want.
No, you heard it. They weren't hiding it. This is not hushed tones.
I guess we'll see. Good day, Miss Green.
Good day.
And I will go rejoin the others.
It was just so suspicious.
You don't know how, but I already have a bottle of wine with me.
You just get that bag of holding is going to be just full of wine, right?
Yeah.
Wine, whiskey, rum, and beer.
And the
I take
occasional
off-
sweet roll.
I
Mostly
take off my apron and put it back in my bag of holding.
Sure.
As I get outside, Eclipse,
Yes.
the apron.
Yes, it's my apron.
Well, why did you put it on?
Yeah.
It makes me. My apron is very good. You see, it makes me able to understand certain professions. If I put it on, and if someone in the vicinity knows a certain professions, I can gain that knowledge of that profession. I just put it on to understand what she was talking about.
That sounds pretty fucking nifty.
Yeah.
At this point, I'd like to tell you, Corinne, that when you had the apron on, you had gained, for a short period of time, smithing, scribing, enchanting, tailoring, bookbinding, skilling. You don't know where that came from. Embalming and cooking. Yeah.
Wow.
I want to imagine.
Probably dancing too,
Eclipse.
if
I want
that's
to
a profession.
when she puts that the apron on, she gets the fucking like lens flare eyes meme, and she just says, "I know everything."
Exactly.
Well, when she puts the apron on, she feels in the back of her head all these different skills lining up. She can only choose one that she's good at. There are times when she can have like combinations, like if she needs like leatherworking and smithing to make a particular kind of armor piece. Then, as long as one person knows both of those things and is in her vicinity, she can fake it, and by faking it, succeed. So she really fakes it and makes it. Literally makes the item.
That's a pretty cool magic item.
Yeah.
As in, I gain I gain any tool proficiencies, or tool proficiency. I need to double check what it says. That is someone knows within 60 feet. So I can go to like a smithing place and be like, you please stay around my vicinity, and I can make an armor piece.
That's so good. I love that.
It's absolutely useless in combat.
Yep.
And she has to be around somebody for it to work. So it's a very conditional magical item.
It
but
will
it's
work for 1 hour of the day left.
yeah. It's a very conditional item, but it's one of those things that if something is very conditional, it's more powerful. And then if something just gives a general state of affairs, then it tends to get weaker as it goes on, depending on how conditional it is when you're building a magical item. And then there's some that are just a complete bloody mystery, like Kate has alluded to, the fact that she has an object, and even she doesn't know fully what it does yet. But you did see the box featured in her little dreams kit. So you guys head out, and a clerk comes up to you and says, "The party with the carriage."
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So here's the map going out to the area. And your driver is Stuart, and no extra staff. It's just Stuart. Apparently, you guys can take care of yourself. That's good. Is there anything that you will be needing? I can't see anything else that you need. Just the brief, really.
Just a brief and just a quick stop at the Hawk and Harness, please.
Oh, of course. Just speak to your driver.
Okay, Simon, because it's 2 minutes to 11.
That's where I was about to round off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
he signs. He gives you a thing to sign. You check it through, and it's basically just saying that you've received like the satchel with the maps and things. All very bureaucratic. You guys head off to the Hawk and Harness. You get whatever stuff you need, either from the armory or from your rooms. And we will start next session with you guys heading off in the carriage from the Hawk and Harness on the way to
Awesome.
your next mission.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow.
We are so unbelievably fucked.
So
You just totally were like, don't fuck with us, man. I'm like, oh, farewell, dude.
I was thinking more along the lines of, please don't fuck with my family.
yeah, please don't look into my backstory. It killed all my family, and maybe will you as well. Do you guys have time for a quick snippet, or should we end it there?
What do you mean, snippet?
How quick
however
a
you want.
snippet?
It's very quick.
Yes.
Very, very quick.
Go for it.
Go
Okay.
for it.
Cora.
Oh,
Sorry.
yes?
Things seem to be picking on you at the moment, but you did run headlong into this, so it's your fault.
You bastard.
Make a wisdom saving throw.
You're
I
in-
haven't had time to think about this backstory.
You're in your room, and
What, going to pick up the...
yeah. So you run upstairs because you know the carriage is waiting outside, and you're there and you're kind of getting changed if you need to get changed, and you're putting stuff into the bag of holding and marveling at the fact that it always weighs the same no matter how much stuff you put in there. And you're kind of setting things up, and Awen makes herself visible, and she goes, "Ah, that Renata Green, she's not that intelligent.
Why'd you say that?
You spelled out her."
I'm doing this telepathically. I don't want anyone to hear.
Oh, of course, yes, she's doing it telepathically to you.
Cool.
She turns around and she goes, "You spelled out your name, and she still got it wrong." And that's where we leave it.
Holy
Oh man! I was just say that.
Oh no! Oh, this is gonna go so badly.
Yeah. As soon as she said about like you've only been here like 1 year, 2 years, whatever, I was suddenly like, oh, I'm doing about that. Oh shit. Yeah. I thought I'd done so well on my backstory, but nope, there's a whole thing missing. Anyway, that'll be thought about.
If it's
Both in game and out.
Yeah, if it's any consolation, Kate, she didn't know. I will reveal to you that she didn't know who you were until you spelt your name out.
Okay. I'm very confused.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to try and figure out.
Yeah,
Put it this way:
Yeah.
if you had looked at the mirror when she was when she asked you to spell out your name, you would have seen some smoke.
Well, I knew she was doing some sort of spell. I knew she was writing something and going to find out something, but I had nothing. Like I couldn't say no.
Yeah.
I was trapped.
That's all she was asking was for your last how to spell your last name.
Yeah, like I knew that was bad news. It was bad news. It's like
Anyway.
We can talk about this a little bit after we stop the stream. As for everybody else, thank you very much for watching. It's been great to see some people in chat, and we will see you hopefully a little better prepared and a little less haggard next Thursday.
With voices and less ill, hopefully.
Yes, yeah.
Both you and me
sniffing,
and everyone.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
No.
Bye-bye.